So at the time of this recording, surprising enough, Chase Bank has just passed up American Express as the top king and high credit card limits in my banking portfolio personally. I want to explain to you how I've been able to get better results with Chase Bank in the last year or so than American Express, though I've had a great relationship with American Express. So you can get similar results if you're banking with Chase Bank and American Express or any other two institutions that you're trying to get to compete against each other for your business. I want to explain my relationship with each institution, my exact credit limits, a little bit about my data points, and why I've had unique success with both of these institutions and why Chase Bank in particular has extended more to me, surprising enough, though I feel like American Express has typically been easier to grow with. So you again can have greater success with both institutions or any other two institutions. Before we do that, I want to give a little context to any of you who are new to the channel. Many of you who may be new may not have caught up on this journey like some of my existing pioneers, but I am a licensed retail banker by trade, 13 plus years of experience at the time of this recording. I have small business banking and credit certification, as well as small business cash flow management, consumer banking, consumer lending, active mortgage loan originators license, FINRA Series 6 investment license, and an active life insurance license. I've been all over financial services for more than a decade, with my bread and butter being in banking. And so what you're getting this information from somebody not only actively exercising his personal and business finances and his personal life, but someone who does this for an active career. So I'm giving you real world and professional insider experience when I talk on this topic. So if you've been covering my content lately, then you're already aware. Those of you who are new, I have about a 4-year standing relationship with American Express. My credit card relationship with American Express only started last spring of 2023. And since that point in time, I've gotten 4 cards with a combined total limits of about $62,000. 3 of the 4 cards are business credit cards. 1 is a personal HILTON Aspire card. My success with American Express has recently started out, as I explained in a recent video, due to a particular set of circumstances changing in my business finances in particular, that I think has agitated American Express's overall business model and who they honestly want to lend to, especially in this current economic climate. I want you to go back and catch that video after this one so you can get some context on what exactly I think that is, so you can have better success with American Express. I honestly think it's one of the best, if not the best, strategy to growth and unlimited approvals and the highest limits with American Express. So go catch that previous video. Now with Chase Bank on the other side, I only have 3 credit cards with Chase Bank, and they're 3 business credit cards. 1 is a small sole proprietorship card that I started with last summer. Only $4,000 in limit still at the time of this recording. I got approved for 3 and only graduated to 4, and it's been 4 ever since. And that's been almost exactly a year ago in June of 2023. But I have gotten 2 business unlimited cards under my actual active LLC. And believe it or not, my first approval with them under that LLC was $47,000. My second one was just approved this June of 2024 for $45,000. Both very impressive limits, to say I was fortunate not to have to supply any documentation. Not fortunate because anything was fraudulent or unrealistic, but because I just didn't want the headache of trying to scramble if they had asked. So I've been able to accomplish just shy of $100,000 in credit limits with Chase on a business side without a single personal credit card with them in about exactly a year's time. So how did that success come to be? Well, my relationship and history with Chase Bank is exceptionally extensive. I have the bulk of my personal banking finances with Chase Bank. That means my personal checking accounts, personal savings account, the bulk of my direct deposits and income, not all, but the bulk of my income, of my 6-figure income, the bulk of it is flowing through Chase Bank. I have my 2 children's bank accounts there as well. My mortgage is with Chase Bank, and I've also got a small brokerage account with Chase Bank. I have a very extensive banking relationship with Chase Bank, on top of FICO scores that are 780 plus for the most part across the board, as well as I stated, over $100,000 in income, active business revenue, etc. I have good DTI. My monthly expenses to my actual income, the ratio is very healthy. I'd probably say it's somewhere under 30% of my active income versus my monthly expenses, and that's including my mortgage and any small miscellaneous payments I have on my small student loan and any small recreational loans that I have, etc. All of it is very neatly packaged into a very good DTI, great comparable credit limits. I have multiple credit cards with $20,000+ limits on the personal side. So when you look at the data points I'm laying out for you, kind of exposing a little bit of my personal business there and personal financials, but to give you context on what it looks like to have that kind of success with Chase Bank, because let's be honest, Chase Bank has a pretty rough reputation of being one of the more difficult financial institutions to grow with. What I do want to drive home in this video is that what I believe worked with Chase Bank is the extensive banking relationship. If you bank with Chase Bank in recent years, then you may be privy to the fact they've become extremely relationship focused. When you look at their Freedom Rise card, which is their new intro-level personal credit card that is basically predicated on you having an active checking account with them with a certain balance requirement of about $250 at the time of application to get approved from that Freedom Rise. The same applies with their update recently at the time of this recording, where they've updated the Chase Inc. Cash, where you can get a relationship bonus of 10% for having an active business checking account on the anniversary of that credit card on a yearly basis. So they're basically saying if you get 25,000 points, they'll throw you another 2,500 points at your anniversary just for having an active business checking account attached to that credit card. They're becoming extremely relationship focused. And that, I believe, on top of the other positive data points that I have, didn't just lead to getting approved, not just at $20,000, $25,000 limits. We're talking about $40,000+ in limits per card so far with Chase Bank, which has toppled my $62,000 in limits with American Express. Now, mind you, I have 4 cards with American Express in almost the exact same window of time, and I've had 2 inquiries. They pulled my credit twice when I initially got in with them, but that's the only 2 inquiries I've experienced with American Express at the initial credit card opening at that time, which was about late March, early April of 2023. Since then, I've been able to get 3 additional cards, all business, no hard pull. So I definitely have seen the value in American Express's growth potential, but I've stalled out there and I've realized why. Because American Express's banking system is not that established yet. They have not rolled out enough products for me to be able to bank with them at the same level I bank with Chase Bank. I've been with Chase Bank for over a decade. I have a very extensive personal relationship, and they can see probably the most important factor besides my credit score, which is my income. They can see the money flowing in. So when I put down whatever I put down on my application at the time for my personal income or projected income, they can look and say, yeah, we see that being realistic or on the money or at least sustainable, on par with what's on this application. We're seeing the banking relationship. We're seeing the deposits. We're seeing the balances. We're seeing your active activity. Also, again, having a mortgage with Chase Bank, same thing. Chase Bank has a fortified relationship for me that American Express does not have the product diversity or product lineup to allow me to have. Hell, I can't even have a business checking account with American Express yet because they don't allow you to have a personal and business checking account at the same time. It's considered a like-for-like product at the time of this recording. It's something that I've been told by them that they plan on adjusting soon, but at the time of this recording, I can't even establish a business checking account with them. So they're very much dependent on the way I'm spending and using those credit cards. Versus Chase Bank, I have the same behavior with Chase Bank that I believe is slowing me down with American Express, but they can see so much more of my banking relationship, so much more of my income, my remaining income after my expenses are paid, etc. They can see the most important dynamics to the underwriting on an application, and I think it's made them significantly more comfortable. I don't think that Chase Bank is becoming more aggressive than American Express. I think the relationship that I have with Chase Bank is paying major dividends, and it's going to allow me to expand my business activity and business operation significantly in the next 3 to 6 months. I'm very grateful for it, but this is something I had to share with you that I think is a major predicator on how you should be banking with your financial institutions to get the best results. You're trying to figure out who's the best credit card lender, who's the best to go with to get high chances of approvals at the highest limits. Don't look for the hype on the internet where particular banks are being called out for being air quote house of high limits and etc. Focus on your banking relationships. Your best shot is whoever you have the most banking activity with, because they have the biggest picture, the clearest, broadest picture on you, and are better able to determine your risk level versus American Express, who largely can only lean on my credit score, credit report, and how I'm using my credit cards. Chase Bank can look at that same data, plus cash flow, plus how I'm spending my money, plus how I'm handling my mortgage, etc. They can see the ins and outs of the bulk of my personal finances. And again, these 2 banking relationships are only a couple out of probably a dozen plus that I have. I'm fortunate to be in a position where I have multiple banking relationships that are pretty significant, but these are 2 of the cream of the crop for me, especially when it comes to banking relationship and access to capital. So I wanted to drop this video, open up a little bit on my personal situation, and give you real world world context on how I'm having more and more success with each financial institution I'm banking with, but how I'm taking someone like Chase Bank, who has not had the reputation of growth potential, at least without the barrier of resistance that American Express typically has, but I'm able to get better results because I believe I have a much more extensive banking relationship. And Chase Bank can be a lot more comfortable knowing we see this individual's money. We've seen it for years. We've seen the growth. We've seen the advancement. We have more insight. We can trust them with more. And I couldn't be more grateful. I have to share this information. So hopefully you can start to have or continue to have the same results with a little bit more information or a little bit more validation if you're having similar success. So I want you to comment down below. Let me know your 2 primary banking relationships. Let me know your personal financial goals with those financial institutions, your successes. Are you seeing better success based on your banking relationships, or are you seeing better success just with banks that you don't have as deep of a relationship with? Do you think the relationship banking concept really has as much weight as it's being presented to have? I personally do, based on my experiences, getting me great results. But I want you to comment down below and let me know how relationship banking is working for you with the institutions that you're banking with. Comment any questions or clarifications or feedback down below as well. I want you to continue to support this channel so this channel can continue to support you. So again, comment, like, share, subscribe. To all of my pioneers, welcome back. To the new viewers, welcome in. I want each of you to stay focused, stay in motion. I'll see y'all soon.